Aloha everybody and welcome to the final extra video of Mega Man 11. In the last video we checked out the challenges list and we did a whole bunch of those stages, and at the very bottom of the challenges list was Dr. Light's Trial, and that's what we're tackling right now. It is by far the hardest challenge in the game. It actually has trophies attached to it, like you get a PlayStation trophy, an Xbox achievement if you actually conquer this particular challenge. And unlike a lot of the previous challenges, we're not just going through old levels like Acid Man Stage or Tundra Man Stage. We have to go through 30 segments that have been custom built for this challenge specifically. And they are designed to be a lot harder than the main game. And the thing that really makes this a pain in the ass is that basically you start off with one life. If you die once, you have to restart the entire thing all over again. You have all of your weapons, so of course you have Bounce Ball, Tundra Storm, whatever. You have Rush Coil, Rush Jet, but we don't have Energy Balance or Neo. We don't have Super Guard or Beat the Bird or Spike Protection, so if you run into any of these spikes right here, instant kill, gotta redo the entire challenge all over again. But also we have no energy tanks, we have no weapon tanks, we have no way to refill our health or our weapon energy as we're going through this thing. And keep in mind, there are 30 floors. I'm only on the 5th floor right now. It's a bit of an endurance test, and you have to go through segment after segment after segment, making sure you keep alive the entire way through. Now, there are some breathing moments in between every single 10 floors. They do give you an extra life at the 10th floor. They give you health and weapon energy at the 10th floor, and then again at the 20th floor. But otherwise, you really gotta be a bit of a Mega Man expert in order to go through this mode, especially with the bosses that you may have seen in Dr. Wily's castle, because they will be showing up once again. And this means you have to use all of your abilities to their fullest without wasting too much of your weapon energy. You know, I'm gonna need Acid Barrier for the very final segment of this, trial. So, you gotta be a little careful. It's going to be trial and error, I'm not going to lie. It's going to be really trial and error because, as you can see, if I make a mistake here, it's either Spike City or Bottomless Pit territory. If I screw up my jumps here, I might fall right into the spikes, or, I might run into the drone and lose some health, and so it's really, really punishing to take way too much damage in these segments. You got to be super, super careful. But, I'm a Mega Man expert. I've been training my whole life for this. I've been playing Mega Man games since I was a kid. I got this. I can do this. Yes, sirree, Bob. The good thing about, of course, Double Gear is that that will never run out. It will obviously overheat if you use it too much, but you're never going to run out of Speed Gear or Power Gear. So sometimes you may need to turn it on in order to take out enemies like the balloon guy here. And you'll definitely need it for the bosses. Oh boy. I know a lot of people who played Wily 1 and they had so much trouble with Yellow Devil. I think it was kind of genius to add Yellow Devil to Mega Man 11, if not only because of Speed Gear. And in the original Mega Man, you couldn't slow down the action. You had to dodge them as they were happening. Whereas with Mega Man 11, you actually have Speed Gear to actually slow down things a little bit, But again, you need Power Gear in order to get the most out of Chain Blast, and it's a delicate balancing act. But I know a lot of people who attempted Wily 1, still attempt Wily 1, even being familiar with it, who say that, the Yellow Devil is so tough for them. They have such trouble dodging the Yellow Devil pattern, the balls that are rushing across the screen, that they always take way too much damage, and then they need energy tanks and stuff. And as you saw right there, Yellow Devil's part of Dr. Light's Trial. You will have to take him on, and you don't have any energy tanks to help you with that particular fight. So I'm really used to Yellow Devil. I've played that quite a bit. And if you're as good as I am, you can handle it no problem, but a lot of people are going to have trouble with it, and that's only 1/3 of the whole trial so far, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy. There's definitely a lot of trial and error with this one. But the one thing I like about Dr. Light's Trial is that not only do we get new custom designed areas, which are not in the main game. Oh, and by the way, this isn't randomized. This isn't like roguelike. It's not like the Endless Trial from Mega Man 9 and 10, where they just keep throwing a whole bunch of custom-made maps in a different order at you. No, it's always going to be the same order every time you attempt this. Yellow Devil will always be on the 10th floor. The first floor is always going to be taking out the Lyric robots that are coming in very, very slowly. Yes, they're named Lyric. I know. Rise of Lyric joke. I thought it was getting away from Sonic Boom. What happened? But, yeah, so nothing is randomized here. This is all custom built. This is all in the very specific order it will always be. But, the one thing I like is that because they have a new background, and this isn't taking cues from any of the previous levels, there's actually a challenge theme. And the challenge theme is actually one of my favorite pieces of music in Mega Man 11. And I remember, because I died to this trial so much, and I kept dying and dying and dying and dying, I was really getting into the theme song as I was going through this thing, you know? I really like the theme song to Dr. Light's Trial. Oh god, no! Yeah, we got the Yoku Blocks. We got the reappearing, disappearing blocks that I love oh so much. The first one just has you falling into super hot, you know, electricity. This one, it makes you run into a bottomless pit if you don't do it correctly. So you really gotta pay attention. And here we're using the trampolines from Bounce Man stage, but they're spikes, so you gotta be really, really careful, and you gotta bounce from trampoline to trampoline. And, ugh! One little misstep. If I just graze my foot against that spike, boom, I am dead, and I have to redo the entire challenge all over again. Well, actually, that's not true, because I did pick up an extra life at the 10th floor mark, so I do have an extra life right now. So it's not the worst thing in the world, this challenge. They do give you a little bit of recovery, a little bit of health, a little extra life here and there. But, you know, it is worth mentioning your weapon energy doesn't recharge whenever you die. So if you're at floor 30, for example, and you waste the particular weakness of the boss in that stage, you're going to have to Mega Buster it. And if you're not familiar enough with the boss fight to just beat it with only the Mega Buster, and of course speed and power gear, it gets a little hairy. And of course, there are two anti-eddies in this room, so you actually have to make a choice. Do you go for the big health, or do you go for the big weapon energy? What is more important to you as you go through this trial, you know? The slightest misstep is the worst thing, especially when you have the bouncing balls. I remember I always had trouble with floor number 3 or 4 because of the bouncing balls, and I would use Pile Driver in order to air dash in between, because the slightest bump of any of these balls can send you careening right into the spikes. If your head just kind of nudges a ball, then Mega Man's gonna go flying back, you know? So sometimes Speed Gear and Pile Driver are your friends whenever you're in a bouncing section, because it's just a little too much. I have 2 lives right now. I can afford to die 2 times, but, you know, I don't wanna. So, Speed Gear, Pile Driver, ooh! I love that. I love that air dashing. Since there's no boss coming up that's weak to Block Dropper, I would actually recommend using Block Dropper on the missile cones right here, but I didn't get the idea to do that, and the only platform to get up there and shoot them with is the reappearing, disappearing blocks, so I think I figure it out later. Yeah, here I go. I was like, why am I not using this? Like, I practiced this a whole bunch of times. There are 2 occasions where I made it to floor 30 in Dr. Light's Trial, and then I died right at the very end, and that was the most disappointing, frustrating thing in the world. I was just like, no! I mean, look at my health. If I didn't have extra lives, I'm that close to dying. I'm that close to having to restart the entire thing all over again, because it's easy to get hit in this mode. And especially with these bouncing Boyorn enemies, who I would actually recommend just, like, if they're close to you, just shoot straight ahead. Chances are they're going to go stay close to the wall, and then you can just handle them no problem. But if you hit them from, like, the bottom of their bodies, Well, then they bounce out of your placement and they can hit your head, and it's just like, ah, these enemies are annoying. And I know they're weak to pile driver, but it's nice to have air dashing for the upcoming challenges. So again, the cogs are spinning in my head. The double gear is spinning in my head when I'm making these decisions here. I'm like, I don't want to waste too much of a particular weapon, you know? Here's where I get the idea to start pushing the tanks into the pits while dodging the pickmen, who are always throwing their pickaxes exactly where you are. And, of course, the fire guys who are shooting their fireballs where you are, too. After a while, though, I was like, nah, just Tundra-storm it. But this is where it starts to cool down and get a little bit easier. Ooh! Pile driver destroys everything. Even those spiky contraptions that are in every Mega Man game. I love Dr. Light's Trial theme song. God, it's so good. Alright, so now we gotta take advantage of speed gear. Luckily, there's only one owl enemy in here, so if you take him out with a nicely placed Scramble Thunder, then you don't have to worry about dodging fireballs at all. But, yeah, just pay attention to the dust that falls before the blocks actually do. Pay attention to the pattern when it slows down, when it starts up again. It's always going to be the same thing as it falls. I don't know where these infinite blocks are coming from, but it's Dr. Light's Trial, so I'm guessing they're cyber blocks. I guess after the events of Mega Man 11, Dr. Light's like, you know, we're going to use all the information of those robots you faced throughout the entire adventure, and I'm going to make you go through a really hard bullshit mode, gauntlet mode, an endurance test, so that you're really used to the Mega Man, because he'll probably bring them back from Mega Man 12. And, we have to stop Dr. Wily. Yes, we have to stop Dr. Wily. But either way, folks, this is level 29. All I have to do is go in the portal, and I'm at the very final floor of Dr. Light's Trial. And as you probably expected, it's a battle with Dr. Wily again. Now, because my health is so low, I don't want to waste weapon energy needlessly, so I'm just going to take the kill and just, like, die. So yeah, now I have 2 lives left, but I have full health again. And again, Dr. Wily is weak to Acid Barrier, so hopefully your shots don't miss. Remember that speed gear really helps here. And you can jump on the missiles, of course, but I'm pretty used to Dr. Wily's fight by now, but when I wasn't used to Dr. Wily's fight, I remember I would just get to this guy while going through Dr. Light's Trial and then just die to him and lose all my lives at this point, and I was just like, I wanted to tear my hair out, because you go so far. You go so far, and then this mustached bastard just ruins all of that progress. Ugh. And this is the one part I should be used to, you know? The boss fight was part of the main campaign. All the individual floors weren't. So, getting killed by this thing just feels disappointing. But here's the strategy I was talking about during the fight in the actual playthrough. Like I said, Scramble Thunder can go underneath the ground, it can go straight up into the sky, and the electricity ball that stays behind whenever it hits one of the cogs can actually prevent other cogs from rushing into you, and it's a good way to drain Wily's health. It's not as strong as Acid Barrier, but it's pretty darn good regardless. Still, when his health gets low enough, I'll bring up the Acid Gear, and when he activates Double Gear, time to use Block Dropper. So just use Power Gear and just time it for whenever he's about to spawn, and Block Dropper will always guarantee some good damage. I wasn't using Power Gear for some reason. I think I had to recharge, but either way, folks, that's it. That is Dr. Light's Trial, one of the hardest challenges in the whole entire game. Booyah! I love that victory theme, and every time you get a medal for completing a challenge, that theme comes on, and it's one of my favorite songs in Mega Man 11. Oh, it's so good. Both the Dr. Light trial music and the challenge victory music are so good. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I should mention that after you beat Dr. Light's trial, you do get another challenge that opens up called Dr. Light's Trial Endless, where basically it just keeps looping the same 30 floors over and over again, and you can compete to see how far and how long you can actually go. And if you want to get the gold medal on that, that means you have to reach floor 60, which means doing Dr. Light's trial twice in a row, which is pretty tasking, and I didn't do it for this video just because it would make this video like 30 minutes long, and nobody got time for that. So that's Dr. Light's trial. That's how you beat it, in case you needed tips, in case you're trying to get the platinum trophy, like I have. Yes, I got the platinum trophy on Mega Man 11. There's a variety of challenges and trophies that are really fun to get. But yeah, folks, that's Mega Man 11. That is it in its entirety. If there's going to be DLC, I will definitely come back to this playthrough and show off the DLC. But if not, then I guess this will be it for Mega Man 11, and hopefully Mega Man 12 or Mega Man X9, or God forbid, Legends 3 happens. Probably not. But yeah, that's it from Mega Man, folks. I'll see you again with Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games.